other people's perspectives and grow.
Well, if we were all the same, we'd all be fucking boring. You know, like the differences in opinion and the differences in everything, that's what makes us us, you know? Otherwise, we'd just be the same fucking
100%.
cookie cutter, the same boring person fucking 6-7 billion times or whatever.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, no, oftentimes those differences can cause conflicts with some people, but I mean, it really doesn't need to. Like, we're all the same people. We're all still chilling. Sure, I might like cheesecake, you might not, but that doesn't mean you're a fucking alien or an animal for it. Like,
Hey man, I fuck with cheesecake.
cheesecake's fucking good shit. I like you already, bro.
Yeah.
If you don't fuck with cheesecake, I don't know what the fuck you are. Besides lactose intolerant, dude. Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. I've had an ex that could not fuck. Nice, buddy. I've had an ex that could not fuck with cheesecake. She refused. She would not do it. I get it. Whatever. Everybody's got their thing. I'm not going to judge. But me personally, you put that shit in front of my face, I'm going to fucking scarf it down. I'd never give her grief for it. But it is what it is. Everybody's got their quirks. If she liked cheesecake just like me, I'm sure there's a lot of other stuff that we probably would have butted heads over instead.
Fucking hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I've been recording for like a minute or two now, anyway. So I could edit shit.
Oh damn! There we go. We're on.
Yeah. Let me.
Okay. Well,
there's Becky. There he is.
I'm gonna mute the mic then for this next part here. Well, fuck it. Who am I? I'm just doing some Canadian shit.
Oh, you're in Canada?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'm your Commonwealth brother, just way farther north. Actually, I've got quite a few homies. I've got quite a few homies that have come from here down to either New Zealand or Oz specifically, and they fucking love it. They'll come back with some good stories and a fresh tan.
yeah. Gets out of your own.
What?
Just so I don't have to interrupt you or anything.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, welcome to the Only Kyle Show. I am Kyle Miller. With me is my host, Mr. DogonUnicycle Kyle. And our special guest tonight is Mr. Do you want me to say your full name, or I mean, it's up to you.
You go for it, brother.
All right,
you go
Mr.
for it.
Kyle Beckwith, one of the characters of our council years.
Hey.
You gotta have that.
What?
You gotta have the characters, man. Again, otherwise it's just boring.
Oh, I do agree with
that. Hey,
that.
man, someone's got to have character, eh?
Exactly.
It is very nice to have you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I was actually shocked that you were willing to come on and be civil with me. So I'm proud of you.
Hey, brother, it's all about growth, man. That's what I'm here for. That's what we're gonna do.
That's perfect.
I'm gonna go off on a limb here, and I'm gonna ask what a lot of the Kyles are gonna be wondering here, and a lot of the other viewers. Now, pardon my ignorance, but I have no idea what this beef was. I have no idea what happened here. Do you guys feel like talking about it?
Hey, I'm an open book, brother. So the beef, Miller, do you mind if I sort of take the reign a little bit here?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I don't think there actually really is that much beef. It's sort of, it's all sort of third hand, and I've sort of interjected myself into places I probably shouldn't have been.
We all do it. We're Kyles, bro.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's the internet, like it's we all like to be a little bit of a keyboard warrior here and there, and I can own that. Yeah. So for me, I guess, for me, the the whole Kyle movement situation that's going on at the moment, it's a bit of a two-parter. I've got a smaller group within the bigger group that I have, I've considered family and a great support network and very, very close with. I've had Americans come over to Australia. I'm going over to America this year, specifically for Kyle. So it's a big thing. But on the other side of it, it's a bit of a game, man. Like it's just the internet. I don't take it too seriously. I like to get in there and muck around. Poor Miller has copped the rough end of the stick a little bit here and there, probably from me a little bit too much. It is what it is, man. Like it keeps things interesting, eh?
Well, exactly. Like there has to be a little bit of controversy with all, like, especially with this many people and with the different like splinter groups. Like it's gonna come up. Like, honestly, if it was just stuff from the different groups, and that's not beef, man. It's just at this point, like you said, it's just internet stuff. Like we get all of us in the same place, like in person, and we'll probably be calm for the most part.
Oh, it got pretty rough and dirty. Like
Yeah.
it got pretty rough and dirty. I'm sure Miller will elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, things. Yeah, I have in my more trolling days. I feel like I had a limit. All right. Sometimes I feel like you sometimes don't, and others definitely don't. Um, and then I hate what that brings out in me, because it brings out the part in me that, like, I don't like being brought out, like the fucking I will just fucking take us all with me,
The
type
uglier side.
person,
The
like,
uglier side.
yeah. And I've tried very, very hard to shy away from that aspect of my life. So it's I I mean that's more of like the fucking more like resentment more than anything, because I don't like that side. And I know I know, Beckwith, that you've had that same feeling from conversations that we've had, and you've had with others, and it sucks.
I think I think my biggest issue is that I sort of get a little too hot and heavy in the moment, and I mean, in the grand scheme of things, man, at the end of the day, like, I'm really not that bad of a dude. Like, I've been talking to another Kyle. Are we allowed to bring up names and shit in here,
I
or?
mean, yeah, like, yeah, whatever you
If you
feel
want
comfortable
to,
bringing up. I mean,
the only reason I stay
Uh,
somewhat anonymous is just because I'm a streamer as well on Twitch there, and I don't want a bunch of
yeah,
people just harassing me. There are some times where my name is dropped, and like we don't really edit the episodes unless it's something that's like heinous and needs to be removed. So like for the listeners,
yeah, for
there are
sure.
Easter eggs. Like if you guys are curious, you have to listen through them all. But my name is dropped here and there. But if you feel like mentioning like anybody else's names, go for it. The only thing I'll ask is if a name is mentioned, if we do bring up a person, the only thing I'll ask is just be willing to readdress it on a future podcast if they bring it up. Like, hey, why'd they say this? Can we talk to them? Can we talk about this? That's the only thing I'll ever
Oh, for
ask.
sure. Yeah,
Other
for
than that,
sure.
go
Yeah,
for it, dude.
100%.
Yeah, go for it though.
Yeah, no. So, so I've been talking to. I won't bring up names because it's not worth it.
No worries.
But another Kyle, another ex-admin of another group that we run, and one of the main talking points at the moment has been sort of a lot of the trolling and the assholery that's been going on. It needs to come to a stop. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all fucking human, and so I specifically myself have removed myself away from a lot of the attacks that have been going on. I've been sort of removed myself from it for a good 4 or 5 months now, and trying to really bring stuff together at the moment. And it's just because of how bad things got. There's a stigma attached to certain names and whatnot, and so it's just time, man. Time heals all wounds, and we just need to
Mm.
sit back and wait for it to blow over.
Time and patience, exactly. No,
Yeah.
it's a good take on it, dude. It's the best way that anybody could put it. Like it is in the grand scheme of things. Like it's fuck all on a big ship. Like there's a lot of other stuff going on in our lives. We're all fairly decent people at the end of the day. They're like you've proven it. I mean, like we've been talking to you here. I'm a fairly decent judge and character. I mean, you seem pretty chill, brother. I've got no qualms yet. Like it comes down to, like we were saying, a lot of it is the keyboard warrior stuff, and much like you there, like
Oh,
I get caught up in it. Like somebody will start a comment and I'll read it the wrong way, and I'm gone, man. I'll just start typing away.
and
I'm
that
like, I'm
isn't
committed for 5 hours. That's it.
and
Fucking a
isn't
switch
that the
click.
worst though?
Oh, it
Yeah, that's
is.
the
'Cause
worst though, because there's no tone in a message, man. So you
no.
could read it however whatever mind setting you're in at that particular time.
So, like, if
I
you're
mean,
upset and you read that message, they could have had the best intentions, but because you're upset, you're gonna read it in an upset tone. And you're like, well, this fucker's taking a shot at me. Well, I'm not gonna stand here and take this. So you throw some shots back, and they're like, well, what the fuck, man? And then it snowballs. 5 hours later, the mods are like, hey, this is stupid. Scrub the comments, and you're like, well, fuck, I just wasted 5 hours, and I feel like a jackass. Made myself look like a fool in front of like
yeah.
500 people. Like, fuck, what? Like, now what?
yeah, and I
One
guess,
of my
like,
favorite
oh,
takes on that is the you guys seen the it's the Key and Peele little clip where he's texting is like, oh, hey, we still on for tonight? And he's like, yeah, I guess, whatever. And then it's being read the wrong way on both sides.
yeah,
Exactly. It's exactly that.
It's so good.
Well,
Yeah.
and I'll say, Becky, that like I am guilty of reading the majority of your messages in the tone that the majority of your messages in the past have been.
Exactly. I set a tone, so it's totally understandable. And so when I come at you from a really, really, mutually calm level, it doesn't come across that way because I've already set the setting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I know that when I talk to certain people, that it, in yourself even as well, that like things that I've said and done in the past set that setting for me as well. And, I'm not the best of, thinking of that, relating to that. So yeah.
Well, it's really
Yeah.
hard to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, especially without context. Like the amount of times, like even my personal friends, like same thing. I'll take a message the wrong way, and I'm like, "What the hell? Cheers, homie."
Cheers.
If I had one, I'd cheers you back. Yeah, I don't have much handy, but no, I like even with
It's
just
11
homies.
o'clock in the morning, but I'll jump on it.
Jesus.
At 5 o'clock somewhere, homie. You're good. Actually, it's
That's
5 o'clock.
I'm Australian. It's 5 o'clock all the time.
Bro, it's 5 o'clock on our west coast here, so you're good. 5 o'clock in Canada, golden. We'll call it Commonwealth
Beautiful.
extension. But yeah, even with homies there, like we'll have the odd message go back and forth, and all you have to do is just misread it the wrong way or just be in the wrong mindset, and it stems from there. It's wild. That's one of the nice parts about like having even just like a Discord call or a phone call where you can hear the tone that somebody's using. That helps tremendously because then it gives you a bit of context. If they're actually cracking a joke, you'll hear them laugh a little bit. You can see them crack a bit of a smile or something. Whereas, just read online, it might just come across as straight out fucking heinous. Like it might just come across as an attack on them. And it's just wild.
Sometimes it is an attack.
Oh yeah, sometimes they are. Yeah, so I've read a couple that are like slightly thinly veiled attacks. Like kind of halfway hidden behind a joke, and I'm like, I read that, but I'm just gonna gloss over it. I'll pretend it's the joke that you said it was gonna be, and we'll leave it at that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. No, it's fun.
Yeah.
So okay, now I have to. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, and I will thank you that around I think it was Christmas or New Year's. I will thank you for backing off when I asked when my grandmother passed away. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no, you got to respect that, man. I actually did reach out to the other group of trolls and say, hey, it's time to back off a little bit.
Yeah, like I agree. I like that earns a lot of respect from me, and like that's I have no problem with you coming on here and shooting the shit because of actions like that. Like, so
it's a class act.
I appreciate it, brother.
It's a respectful thing to do. Class act, bro. Hell yeah. Okay, now I want to kind of dive off here. Now I'm not gonna lie, bro. I had no idea that you were from down under. So hearing the accent, I was like, oh, word, okay. Now there's since what happened there. Well, I don't know if we can even talk like the pandemic, whatever. There was a lot of restrictions. I heard a lot of stuff going on down in the southern hemisphere. Are you in Australia or are you in New Zealand?
I'm in Australia. I'm in central Queensland.
Word, okay.
I'm in a little beach town called Yeppoon.
Hell yeah. Okay. It sounds kind of nice, honestly. Probably a hell of a lot nicer than here.
It's beautiful. I'm a 2-minute walk from the beach. I got the pub just up the road. I got the shops down there. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, buddy, I'm landlocked. I'm in the middle of Canada. If I want to go to water, I'm driving like 3 hours to get to a fucking lake. And the lake's like covered in algae and shit. It's not a good time. But okay.
So I guess.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I think I can sort of read where you're going, and so just to elaborate on the Australian pandemic situation, I was very fortunate to be where I am. So most of the rest of Australia copped some pretty hefty lockdowns. Some pretty hectic, let's just call it lockdowns, and rules and restrictions. I'm pretty fortunate where I am. I'm so far from everywhere else that it really is just a little beach town that's not near anywhere. So for me, the pandemic never actually happened. So everywhere else, everyone else had to wear face masks. Everyone else had to stay inside. I think we shut down our pubs for maybe 2 weeks. I mean. Yeah, it was pretty cruisy for me. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna ask, like, naturally, a lot of it's kind of let back. Here, for example, we've dropped the restrictions for the vaccines. Like a lot of places, they're not even asking about vaccines or anything like that. Now, I know Australia, much like us, was taking it very seriously at the start and even towards the end of it there. Do you know if there's still that same kind of restriction going on, or if they're starting to also ease off and they're kind of just admitting, like, fuck it, it's over, like, we're done with it?
So there is definitely still a lot going on. It is cooled right down,
Yeah.
but and I guess I don't want to go too far into like
And
conspiracy or whatever, but
you don't have to. Like, if you're not willing
no,
to answer.
man, like I said, I'm fucking open book, brother. We'll talk
All
about
right.
whatever the fuck you want. But with that, it's funny that COVID. We're at a stage now where it's sort of in the past, but it
Still
happens
here.
to creep back up every time there's a holiday. So, Christmas is coming around the corner. All of a sudden, COVID's here. We need to lock down. It's restrictions are going in. Easter, or it's like there's some sort of um,
Something
you
to it.
know, yeah, we're being stopped from hanging out with family at the times where we need to be around family, and it seems wrong. I don't understand. I don't know how it just happens to pop. I guess no, that's wrong. I guess there is that sort of around that holiday time. A lot of people are moving around a lot more, so it could happen. But
It can
I
make
personally,
sense.
I don't see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it,
feels
too many,
It could
too
you
many-
could rationalize it in a way that it makes sense, but I still think it's full of shit.
too many coincidences for me to take it
Yes.
seriously. Yeah.
Okay. I honestly, we don't get to hear, like, I try to take in like a global perspective with, news that I'm consuming and like different media outlets. I'll try to go through everywhere, even forums and stuff. But it's always nice to, actually speak with somebody who's actually there and actually got to see it. And it's even nicer to hear that, like, here we were fed that your entire country was in lockdown coast to coast, and like any rational person's like, that's not a fucking thing. Like, they're not going to every single small town like, you guys need to adhere to these standards. Like, they don't have the officials to do that, let alone the fucking money to pay them. Like, that's like, even here we couldn't have done it, but they sure as shit tried. But it's, I don't know, I wanted to kind of clarify a little bit, because again, it's not possible for it to happen, but so many people have only heard that side, that story, where it's like we have to almost hear it spoken from somebody else like yourself to say, like, yeah, no, the entire country didn't just go belly up like we were told and trying to be fed that it was. Like,
Yeah, but I guess, and it's a bit unfair of me to be able to talk on it very much because, like I said, where I'm from. It's like a small place.
town. Yeah.
I personally didn't see it, but the rest of the country really did see. It might not have been as bad as what you've been led to believe, but it definitely got very, very bad.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some scary videos from out of Australia during COVID and stuff. Like, yeah. I mean, there's definitely, because what are the territories in Australia? Like the provinces, or what do you call them?
Okay, all right. So we have 5 states and 2 territories. So we've got Western Australia, Western Australia, South Australia, New South Wales, Queensland, Tasmania, Northern Territory, and the Australian Capital Territory.
Okay. I just remember one of them was like the de facto example
Victoria.
of Victoria.
Victoria.
Yep. Like door to door, like your neighbor snitched on you and you went out last night and
Oh man, there were pregnant women getting locked up. Like it was unbelievable. Like, I mean, I remember one story of a pregnant woman getting locked up for making a Facebook post. As it wasn't inciting violence. It wasn't. It was just. It got really out of hand, man. Our government handled it very, very wrongly. But in saying that, that's also that was Victorian state government, not necessarily Australian federal government.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember the name of the guy that was the premier down there. It's gonna hurt my brain to think of it, but that Dan Andrews, I think, might have been. No, it doesn't matter. Anyway,
I'll look it up while you continue.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, the premier of Victoria at the time was an absolute wank, and handled it completely wrong. So it is what it is.
Honestly, I can't speak much on it. Like, up here, we were also very much locked down. I mean, like, they put out fucking RCMP on horseback to break out our peaceful protests. Like, we had people in the streets with bouncy castles having barbecues and playing street hockey and shit. And they rolled out the RCMP with like horsebacks, assault rifles, like the whole nines to clear this stuff out.
RCMP?
Yes, thank you. Not all of it was.
No, I'm asking what.
Okay. Even better yet. Okay, so the RCMP is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. That's our
Okay.
kind of federal police force.
Okay.
They're effectively a paramilitary. Honestly, they have extradition privileges in any country. If they think on a federal level that you're worth the time, they'll fucking strip on the front of your house open and full out raid you. Like they are
Wow.
serious. Oh yeah, no, the RCMP does not fuck around. Like
Heck
to
yeah.
put it into perspective, if you've ever been in the military, if you passed your basic and you left on good terms, as long as you meet the physical requirements and you still pass your aptitude test, you are guaranteed acceptance into the RCMP. To kind of give you a bit of a perspective into how that functions.
Yeah. Okay.
But
No. Right. Yeah.
so there was a lot of interesting stuff going on with them throughout the whole pandemic there. Specifically, Ottawa is what I was mentioning with these riots, as they put it. And there was a lot of interesting stuff going on there. Cat, not.
And it was Daniel Andrews, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. Dan Andrews, absolute fucking wanker. I don't think I've come across anyone that's more nationally hated.
I don't know. Trudeau.
just
I was gonna say, hold
constantly.
on. Yeah, Trudeau's getting up there, man. We're pretty fucking done with this guy. Because he's the one that put the RCMP, the boots on the ground for it. And there was another thing I was getting to. The interesting part, you said RCMP with the quotations, right? Now, there were some police, whatever you want to call them, some dudes in uniform with weapons that were on the ground for these riot breakups that had no branding, had no patches, had no anything on them. They were just in kind of just coyote brown, whatever. I don't know how much truth there is to it, but I have friends who live there who said that they interacted with some of these guys and they could barely even speak English. Which,
Wow.
don't get me wrong, okay, yeah, there are a lot of foreign citizens, but it's not that easy to get into the RCMP, and you would not be in that kind of a position, let alone without any kind of banding or badges or anything. Like, there was literally nothing on these guys. They're just dudes, just appeared. And there was a whole controversy around this. There were photos taken of UN branded planes at Pearson International Airport in Toronto that were then ferried over to Ottawa. Like, weird shit happened. That's why I'm kind of glad you did the whole quotation thing. But like, we're in a really weird point here. You're talking about like national level of hatred. Trudeau's implementing bills that limit what we're allowed to intake via media here.
Sorry. What? Sorry. I'm sorry. Just one moment. I'm going to 30 seconds.
You're good.
Do what you need to do. Yeah, Bill C-21, I believe.
Jesus.
Is one of the absolute just murderers for our freedom here. It is it's not exactly ideal. I'm just going to.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, yep.
Okay, you're back. Yeah, no. So.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, there's a new bill that's been implemented where we have to, like, YouTube, Facebook, Google, any media company has to prioritize Canadian content. And if there's something the Canadian federal government is like, we don't think we should see that, we just don't see it anymore. Like, unless we go through a VPN, like, we're putting up our own Great Wall here. Like, it's getting spooky. And it's at the point where, like, on Twitch, for example, like, I basically stepped back from streaming because I'm not allowed to talk about the state anymore. The only time I can mention the state is if
and
it's
what
in
are the
an opinion
ramifications if you do?
my Twitch will be taken down. I'll get banned. I can no longer post or anything like that. And then depending on, like, I don't know how far it'll go from there. Like, there are fines that you can incur from what I'm understanding of these new bills. Depending on what you do, you'll be limited on your reach as well. You'll be limited on what you can access. Like, they'll just fucking put you in a bubble, which is insane.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. And like nobody talks about this stuff. Nobody's commenting on it. Like, there's all kinds of stuff like this going on across the country. Like, our firearms, for example, are being banned left, right, and center because they're assault weapons. He's at the point of banning center fire, like, bolt action rifles is almost where he's going now. Like, he's basically taken everything semi-automatic off the market. They're putting out new stuff. Every time they put out an alternative that meets his new specs, he bans that too. No, sorry, it's out of spec, and then he just keeps changing it and just killing everything. No, we're also in a weird point. It all started with the pandemic there. That's kind of why I was asking to see how Australia's come back since. You know, has the Australian government kind of lessened up on that reign of control? Have they doubled down? What's become of it? Because here, like, the mask mandates have backed off, but he's doubled down on almost everything else, and it's spooky.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think most of Australia is pretty much back to normal, hey? But I mean, at the same time, I personally sort of stay away from any mainstream media, news sources. It's more of a headache than it's worth. And when you finally get to the point where, like, so I don't watch TV at all.
Mhm.
I don't have any hand in it. And when you finally get to the point where you realize that without any of that information, nothing changes and your life actually improves. I mean, I don't have to worry about it. If it's not in my mind, I'm not worrying about it. All I have to worry about is getting up and going to work and coming home and having a beer. So
Yeah, like
yeah.
I'll go through the headlines like on Bing or whatever, like, you know, whenever I open the computer or my phone, you know, and like if there's something that piques my interest as to whether I care or not, if it's true, like then I read the article, look at the sources, and then I restart researching like to find out the validity and stuff like that. Cause like, you know, I it's been so long since I've been like, oh my God, like this article came out and I'm terrified. Yeah, except for like, you know, things that are being said that they're not being implied that they are dangerous, like, oh, you know, US to send like 10,000 troops to Germany to, you know, to reinforce NATO. And it's like, well, you know, you know, that's a little scary for me because that probably means that we're going to be, you know, sending troops to Ukraine. So like stuff like that, you know, you got to learn to like read between the lines really well. And you know, if they're telling you something and like, you know, it's a smoke screen, but they're really telling you something else that's about to happen, like, you know, like I've been trying to figure out what their play is with, you know, in the US they're talking about how, you know, they're about to fault on our loans, on the, you know, the loans that the US has taken out. And Janet Yellen, our Treasury Secretary, like gave another extension, and I'm like, dude, like what are you guys trying to what exactly is it that you guys are trying to like hide here? Because, you know, you've been talking about this for months and months and months, and you guys know that you're either not going to fault on it or you're going to fault on it so that you gain control in some way, shape, or form. And I've been trying to figure out that angle pretty hard because, I mean, regardless, like, you know, either Rome's going to collapse or Rome's going to get an iron grip on the population worse than during COVID. And, you know, both, you know, I'd rather Rome collapse, but you know, both are pretty fucked up for the short term.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing when it comes to, you brought up like smokescreen and things like that. So another frustrating thing with mainstream media is it doesn't matter. You're never getting the story anyway, dude. As
Oh
soon
yeah.
as whenever there's something big going on in the media, there's something bigger going on in the background.
Yep.
Everything's a distraction from what's actually going on. And I personally just got so sick and tired of it. It's more of a headache than it's worth. So, but yeah,
Well,
sorry to diverse a little bit, but
no, you're good. You actually, well, you touched on a kind of another point there. I kind of almost wanted to segue because I'm curious. In Australia, there, what is the coverage? What's the take on the conflict in Russia and Ukraine right now?
Well, he might not know.
Well, no, he knows. Just no, like,
um, so I like just straight up Australians.
doesn't give a shit.
I'm not going to speak for all Australians here
No,
because
but
I'm
like, what? No,
definitely representative.
sorry.
But I will
Let
say,
me.
for the most part, we're pretty laid back. We don't give a shit what goes on in the world, eh? As long as
Yeah,
the pub's open and we get home from work safely, who gives a fuck, eh?
fair enough. Fair enough. All right.
I
No,
mean, there are certainly some very highly opinionated people out there, and sometimes there's some heated discussion that goes on. But I mean, really, like, I mean, Millie, you're not wrong. Like, I really don't really know. Like,
okay,
for the
fair
most
enough.
part, I just don't think we care.
Okay. No, I was curious to
It's
see.
funny because I'm actually dating a chick from Belarus at the moment. Which Belarus borders Ukraine. So
They were involved in this. Yeah.
You say you
yeah.
say Australians don't care, but really she's just telling you. She's got a sign like on the other side of the camera right now, be like, "Say Australians don't care."
Don't say anything. No comment.
She's actually a hidden KGB sleeper agent.
No, and I may have misworded that too. No, I was more so thinking like what is, like, you know, like mainstream media. I know you try to avoid it, but like what is like the
Don't watch. I
general?
have no idea.
Yeah, no
idea.
doubt.
I
Okay.
when I say I don't follow it, I really mean I
Yeah, just
have no
no.
idea.
No cares.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like
No, 'cause even
75% of his friends online are freaking Americans or Canadians. So it's like,
Yeah.
Fair enough. No, because even here, like there's a very heavy pro-Ukraine bias, saying Ukraine's definitely going to go through this. There's no way. There's nothing. But there's not much coverage on the other side. It's all very one-sided coverage, and there's a lot of stuff that isn't covered that has me kind of curious as to why they're avoiding covering it. Like Bakhmut, for example. It's one of the contested regions, one of the big conflicts right now. There's been a huge fight over this one city, and the kind of Western North American media is saying, they're indestructible. The Ukraine's going to push through. They're going to wipe it all out. They don't stand a chance. Like, Russia's a fool for doing this. But they're not reporting on the fact that this city fell, and this was supposed to be like one of the strongholds. This was supposed to be like the turning point.
That's just
of the
Canada,
war.
bro.
Okay.
They've been reporting on that since it fell.
Okay, it's been hushed here. I don't know why. There hasn't been much about it. Maybe it's just from my side here, but I feel like there's a weird bias on it. There should be the entire picture painted here, and there's only parts of it, and it just bugs me because, like you said, you never get the full story. You'll get snippets of it. You'll get somebody's perspective on their chunk of the story that they have, and it's almost impossible.
You'll only ever get what you're allowed to know.
Exactly, right? You have to dig and dig and dig into multiple dozens of websites to even get close to the truth. And even then, you're gonna get, like you said, what you're allowed to know, what's publicly accessible. It's madness.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry to sidetrack.
I mean, no, you're good. But look, I mean, like I said, I don't really follow much of it, so I don't have a great hand in it. But as far as the Russian situation, Putin's a fucking menace, guy. Fucking, that guy's got some fucking big cojones, eh? Fucking good on him. I mean, I'm not pro Putin, but I mean, at the same time, fucking good on you, homie. You do you.
He doesn't care. He never has. He does what he thinks is best for his country, and that's fucking it. If you don't like it, fuck you.
He doesn't do what's best for his country, bro.
Well,
he does what's best for him. He doesn't give a fuck.
It's what he thinks is best for the country. Yeah. No,
He's destroying his own country, dude. He's ruined their economy. He's sending them down the fucking wrong track. People are starving in the streets. I mean, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, no, I think he's fucking. I mean, good on you, do you? But he doesn't give a fuck about the people in his country, bro.
Well, and
he cares about number one.
I hate to in any way, shape, or form seem like I'm defending Putin because I hate totalitarian states, no matter what. But I can look at the situation from his point of view, and regardless of his his aggressions, the West has been threatening to make his country not independent in more than a few ways for years. And literally the US orchestrated the blowing up of Nord Stream 2 so that his country couldn't sell oil to Germany as easily and in as much volume, and it's just stuff like that. He's just it, but that's not it. That's not the only the only thing in his head isn't protecting Russia's future. I mean, he's an old world communist that believes that the Soviet Union was the best thing to ever exist. Especially because him and his buddies were in power. I've hated him since South Ossetia. So there was no justification for South Ossetia at all. He can make a pretty decent claim on Ukraine. Okay, the reasoning behind it. But South Ossetia, there was just no reason. There wasn't.
There's been a lot of controversial stuff that the man has done. 100%. From either side of it, you can rationalize it. If you put yourself in a far enough shoe, you can rationalize any action from any side there. I can say 100%, he doesn't give a fuck, and he does whatever the hell he wants.
There's been a lot of for it too.
Oh yeah, no, I'll respect the shit out of him because he just doesn't give a shit. Somebody the rest of the world is Putin, you can't do this. He's fuck you, this is Russia, and then he just does it. It's set in stone. If he wants it, it's done. But it is there's a lot of stuff that he's been a little off on. A lot of stuff that he's done that's a little
One of my
wild
favorite.
there.
One of my favorite things is at the moment my Belarusian friend says she says about I asked her about Putin. She says, "Oh, that man needs to expire."
That's a way to put it. Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
Because he's from like back when the USSR was still a thing. Like that's his mindset.
Yeah,
And,
isn't
like,
he an ex-KGB spy?
Yes.
Oh, dude, he was head of the
He was the head of the
KGB.
KGB. Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Oh,
he
there
started
you
as a
go,
spy,
yeah.
worked his way up, and then got his way into office. And since he got into office, if he's not the prime minister, or if he's not the president, he switches to the prime minister for the end of the 2 years or the 2 terms or whatever he can run diplomatically. He takes the prime minister's office so he can still run shit from behind the scenes. Before he does, he transfers basically all the power from the presidency to the prime ministership. He runs his term as the prime minister, gets reelected as the president, transfers the power back, and then just keeps fucking going. He's been doing it since like the early 2000s or whatever the hell it is. Like it's wild.
You gotta hand it to him, eh? Like Jesus Christ.
Fuck, like
Well,
that's
you
insane.
got to hand it to him for him using like Western, socio-political and like government economical structure to do it now, instead of like, oh, just the Soviet states and like this authoritarian thing. He's like, well, nope, it's all legal.
Yeah, it's not just like fuck you, I'm still the president is my thing, I'm sorry. Like no, it's like okay, I'm no longer president, now I'm prime minister. I still do shit, I still run everything, but now I'm prime minister. It's okay. It's diplomatic. I'm not president anymore. Run 2 terms is all I'm allowed to do. Come back next term, start again.
And if you step out of line, you might not wake up feeling very well tomorrow.
You are president for the next 4 years. You do everything I say. You don't do what I say. We find other president to step in place. You see where I'm going with this? It's okay. You'll learn. Yeah, it's
That's
very.
right. It's the
very-
same thing in every fucking government, though. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you're voting for. It's either the puppet on the right or the puppet on the left.
Well, at the end of the like, especially like even places like here, right? Like we're beacons of democracy. These Commonwealth states, right? Everything still goes through the House of Commons. It still goes through the Senate. It still has to go through the Prime Minister and all the other bullshit. Like there's so many different places where it can get skewed and just thrown right the fuck out to lunch. That yeah, no, it's basically a farce. Like anything that you want to have done that can be approved and it gets everybody's approval, it just again takes one of those 3 or 4 steps to be like, man, fuck this, and it's toasted. That's it. Like, yeah, there's your free will, there's your vote. Like,
yeah, and here they've just been able to like, go unchecked in creating like rules within the legislation and like unchecked executive privilege by the presidency. That is just it's just. I mean, don't get me wrong. We haven't had.
Dude, what is going on with your fucking president at the moment?
Old Sleepy Joe. Yeah.
Oh my god, bro! It's a fucking it's a movie. It's the most entertaining thing. You know what? I say I don't follow any fucking mainstream media or anything. I follow American politics more than I follow. Currently I don't even know who my prime minister is. I have no idea who the fuck it is. Like, but I follow this American shit like it's fucking a comic book, bro. It's the best.
it's like fucking Hollywood, but it's real. Like
Well,
this shit's actually
and I love it.
happening.
Listen, I love it.
You guys have a child sniffing fucking dementia-riddled psychopath at the helm.
I can't even fucking form a sentence, and he's signing executive orders left, right, and center. Fuck diplomacy. I'm just putting it in emotion. Something about ice cream sundaes. Like,
and here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, I've loved both the last presidency and this one because I don't fall into either of those political categories in American politics. And it has just, both presidencies have shown the absolute ridiculousness of the presidency and the federal government in its current form. And I like, all it does is wake up more people to more, more freedom minded type things. And they're like, well, did we really just let the DNC, get us to elect this fucking dude who probably wears a diaper? Like, and then, Trump, like, though Trump was good for the economy because he was a businessman, like, there was also many things.
Y'all need to get him back in.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. No. Honestly, Miller, I want you to hear this. I'm glad we're not honestly, from what I can tell, the rest of the fucking planet is pretty well on the side that Trump was pretty good for you guys. Trump's kind of what you guys need right now. You guys are in a fucking hellhole right now. And
Well,
no
but
offense, but your
he
country
also-
is basically a business. Your
he
country needs to
also-
be run like a business.
No,
You need Trump.
America. No, America is not a country; it's a corporation. Let's get that very fucking clear. And that's like widely known.
Yeah, it's
It is
a crony.
a
It's a
fucking-
crony. It's a cronyistic corporatism basically now. And because like I said before, the legislation has been able to pass rules that benefit them without any oversight, because their president was in at the time and they had, you know, their judges in the Supreme Court, and you know, so like, you know, like they can trade stocks through insider trading because they know that they're about to pass a law that the public doesn't know about that's going to affect the stock. So their husband and wife can legally fucking, you know, go and take out stock options based on that information. And it's not insider trading, but if I do that with my friend who works at the company, it's insider trading. It's just all nonsense. But like, you know, I'll be honest though, like you guys say Trump was good, dude. Like, Trump also is the one that signed off on the fucking the COVID restrictions on the federal level and the stimulus package, which fucked our economy. Fucked our economy.
Hold on.
But I think in that situation, that's a very sorry. No, you go.
Okay, you're probably going to the same thing here. If he was allowed to stay in power, he would have been able to fix that. What he did there was what was supposed to be just a quick fix for what was supposed to end within a couple months. At that time, it made sense. The Canadian government did the same thing. Fuck, they gave us checks for $2,000 for like 10 months straight for anybody that qualified. You didn't even need. Okay, for those that aren't aware,
So my government gave me $20,000 out of my super.
Right? See, like it's insane. Like, we didn't even need to check to see if we were qualified. You know what we were told? The Canadian government and the Canadian Revenue Agency said to apply for it. If you're qualified, we'll send you the money. Don't worry about anything else. Just apply. So many people got fucked over by that. They're having to pay back a bunch of cash. But regardless, like at the time, I guess it seemed like a good idea. Ours was definitely way too far. 20K, that's a little far. We could all admit that. But like the 2,000. Go ahead.
The 20K. What I will say is so our government allowed us to have early access to our own superannuation fund. Do you guys have superannuation
like
fund?
Social Security,
like an RRSP, like a retirement plan.
Kind of, yeah. So every week that I get paid, X amount of that will go into an account that I can, when I turn 60 fucking 7 or whatever it is, I then get all of that. Yeah,
it's Social Security here.
Yeah, for us it's RRSP. Okay. I think it's like a restricted retirement savings plan or some nonsense, some fucking government. But same idea, yeah. Like, okay, our 2K, no, that was just government money. That was just taxpayer money. They were like, fuck it, yeah, we got a bunch of here. Yeah, you paid all your taxes this year. Here, we're gonna take this guy's tax money because he paid like $6 million because he's a business owner. We're just gonna distribute it to everybody. And now they're clawing it back because they realize it was a lot of fucking money to just hand out to people. But
shit, yeah.
Yeah, well, again, like taxpayer money, like we're paying it back. Like we paid into it. It didn't just float out of nowhere. That's money that could have gone to the healthcare system, that could have gone to roads work, to police services, like anything that's on our, you know, like socialist level government funding, you know, like. But the Trump thing, like that was a one payout of 2K. If he was allowed to stay in office, he could have fixed that. That's $2,000. That's fucking chump change.
Well, the worst part about that bill, though, is that there's two stimulus checks, right, Sydney? We got two stimulus checks, but both bills, that wasn't the problem. Like the stimulus checks weren't the problem. It made up like 1% of the fucking of the stimulus checks, and so
wasn't there?
Everything else was like all this funding for, you know, either COVID research or like, you know, like sending money to Moderna and AstraZeneca and all these companies and stuff to do all this stuff that they never did, or like these business loans so that businesses could pay their employees, but you know, the qualifying restrictions were like 50 plus, you know, people had to work for you and all this shit. So it was only for like, you know, corporate shit, and it fucked everybody over.
And like, again, like I'm somewhat confident that had he been allowed to fix it, he probably could have, but because he was ousted in the middle of all of that shit, that's where the problem came up. His
and that's what I was trying to That's
go
what I
ahead.
was sort of trying to touch on before, was that with Miller, you were saying about Trump handling the COVID situation. I think you got to also remember that it was a big thing, dude. Like it was a big situation, and this is one dude standing there going, "Fuck, all right," and he's being sort of told or given information, which is probably shit information. I
Oh
mean, he's
yeah,
just doing the best
absolutely,
what he could
100%.
with what he had. Yeah,
100% because
yeah.
he had career experienced Dr. Anthony Fauci in his corner, telling him who's like, who helped handle the AIDS epidemic and all this stuff. And it's like, he doesn't know better. He doesn't know that, okay, well, this guy actually did some terrible shit. And, oh, he's running the NIH, which is actually the organization that was funding the lab in China, which was researching gain of function technology, which is where COVID started in Wuhan. And oh my God. And then this guy's telling you but the craziest part is Fauci went to a meeting in Europe with all these scientific heads. And before that, he had this totally different outlook. They come back, the meeting minutes from that meeting are all redacted. There has not been a single unredacted version out. He comes back, and every single country at the same time, lockdown, and lockdown, all these restrictions, boom, 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 boom. So somebody went to that
Dude, what
meeting
about
and told them, this is what you're going to go back to your countries and recommend. Happens now or everyone dies, basically.
Dude, what about in China where they're all fucking locked down and there's fucking was it drones or something going through the air with speeches going like fucking stay inside, fucking I don't remember what that was
Like
saying, but it
straight
was
up dystopian.
epic.
Yeah. There's videos of,
Yeah.
I don't know how much truth there is to it, but I mean, it's pretty wild to fake something like this. There were videos of fucking buildings being welded shut, and you can hear people on the other
Yeah.
side of these fucking doors freaking the fuck out.
Yep.
These
Well,
are not
wouldn't you
just
freak out? You're being
no,
welded into a fucking room,
no,
homie.
and this is the thing, we've all watched movies, all right, yeah, okay, we can tell when somebody's acting, when that's an actual human who's fucking terrified for their life. That's a totally different scream. You can't fake that for Hollywood.
Yeah.
Those are some
Yeah.
of the noises you're hearing coming from these buildings, and it's yo, what? At the same time, you've got the drones flying by, ordering people to stay inside. You've got dudes in fucking hazmat suits rolling by on those fucking little wheelie things, spraying down the streets with whatever the fuck they had.
Fog.
Yeah, what the fuck? Now, there was something interesting that came out of the Canadian government, I think about 2 years into this. October of 2019, we were in China, the Canadian Armed Forces. Now, we are not cool with this. The Canadian people were not cool with this. The Canadian military was not cool with this. Trudeau was the one that signed off on this. We trained China in winter warfare. We were over there training them when this shit happened. October of 2019, we pulled our troops out because we saw that there was something going on in China. People were getting sick. Lockdowns are being initiated. Shit was getting fucked up. So we pulled our troops out of there. October of 2019. Let that sink in. When did the pandemic officially start?
December.
November, baby.
November or December, yeah, one of the two.
Right? Our government, there was no mention of this. For us, it officially kind of kicked off, it got heavy around January into February. That's when it started to really get heavy. That's when testing started to happen. Everybody started to get locked down and shit, right? Why the fuck was there this huge lag between when we pulled our troops out, when the Canadian government knew that something was happening in China, and they were worried to the point that we pulled our fucking troops out of there, the military? No offense, but it's the military. There's literally acceptable casualties. It's built into the way that structure works. We pulled them out.
All right, so it's fairly well established that we know for a fact that it came out of Wuhan now, right?
Yes.
So I think the next question is, okay, and I don't know, maybe I haven't followed it long enough. Was it an accidental outbreak or was it intentionally put out? That's what
Everybody still says accidental, but how the fuck is that how does that happen?
It doesn't matter though. It doesn't matter. That's the thing. It shouldn't have been going on in the first place, funded by who it was in the location. China is considered a state enemy to the United States. So why the fuck is the NID fucking funding gain of function research in a lab in China?
I mean, I can understand why to say it shouldn't have been happening in the first place. I think that's a bit of a stretch because the whole point of it is that, okay, let's let's get ahead of the game. Let's we'll create XYZ viruses, whatever, so that we can come up with vaccines so that later on, let's say, like when what was it, H1Z1 or whatever it was come out, and it takes years for a vaccine to come out. So let's get ahead of the game. So when something does happen, oh shit, we've got this lab over here, and we've actually got vaccines that we've been working on for the last 10 years. So we're already ahead of the game. We can beat this now.
Yeah, like
we can nip it in the bud.
I get the idea behind gain of function, but
It's just a
the
preventative measure.
the
Yeah.
NID was restricted from funding gain of function research because of incidents in the past. So like they literally weren't supposed to be funding this. That's why it was being funded in China without many people knowing. And part of me, part of my conspiracy side thinks that like, they did this because they thought it was going to wipe out China's, financial stability. And, because China was becoming, China is the financial, powerhouse of the
China's
world now.
gonna fuck the US right up.
Yeah.
They're coming for you, dogs. They're like, you know what, dog? You owe us. What's your debt to China now? Like fucking 8 trillion or something like that.
China already legally owns like 20% of the farmland in the United States now.
Oh, don't worry, they're doing it here too, man. They bought up. Man, Australia, we have the fucking worst government, bro. We're just selling land to whoever the fuck wants it. It's like that's ours. What are you doing? China owns so. I live in where I live is considered the beef capital of the country. So we're the biggest importer exporter of Australian beef, and China's just bought up fucking so much of it, dude. Like, what do you? Okay, yeah, we're getting money out of it. We're getting money. How does money work? It's temporary, homie. Land is forever.
Yeah.
Like that's it. You just screwed us. You just fucked us in the A, man.
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna sell it back. Like that's not on the list of fucking Chinese expansion.
In Africa, they're doing the opposite. They're just going there through humanitarian missions as the Chinese government and helping to rebuild these countries and civilizations that have been neglected by or exploited by the West for so long. And they're going to be built, like their children are going to grow up being like, dude, China saved us as like a civilization. And that's just crazy.
It's so fucking smart.
Oh yeah.
Like I cannot, like, it's amazing. Like it's a wonder that nobody else has thought to do it. I mean, like I can't even begin to be upset with them. Like it's amazing. Like, yes, these are areas, multiple countries that have been, like you said, neglected or even abused by some of these other Western countries. Like anybody could have stepped up to try and actually remedy or fix a situation, make reparations to the damages done. Nobody gave a shit. They just keep going on what they're doing. China's like, fuck this. I'll play the Americans now. I'll roll up like America used to. I'll be the savior. Yeah, you know what? Let's protect you from the big bad guy. Let's protect you from the U.S.
Yeah.
They're setting themselves up. They're already halfway there. Like,
dude, I mean, man, China's fucking game plan is so flawlessly brilliant. It's ridiculous. And the day that they call in their debts, like the world is gone to shit.
They've had fucking.
We keep going with it. Like what? You know what's gonna happen. What? Oh, fuck.
Trudeau here, and again, I'm talking about the state. Trudeau here has gone on record. This was early in his election. He went on record and said that he admires the basic dictatorship of Cuba and China. Fucking said it on record, dude. This is the guy that just got elected. What the fuck? Like, this is why we're training the Chinese in winter warfare and shit. Like, don't get me wrong. Again, the Chinese plan, flawless. Like, I cannot fault them. Like, if you have the means to do it and you can think that far ahead, fucking go for it. Like, the collapse of Rome...
They got the money and they've got the numbers.
The collapse of Rome led way to many other empires to open up. The Germans were the kind of final straw that broke the camel's back, and look what came of it, you know? Like... absolute madness, but it's another crucial tipping point.
Go ahead. No, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I thought, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah. The last point is that I was making with the whole China thing. Their biggest move that they're doing right now is replacing the U.S. dollar as the petrocurrency.
Yep.
Oil runs the fucking world. I don't care what anybody thinks. Oil runs the world. Everything is made from oil. We fucking use oil to power everything. Well, for now, exactly. We're working our way through it. But I mean, like petroleum-based products, plastics, medications, everything. Like oil is fucking huge. It's everywhere. Now, in replacing the US dollar as the petrocurrency, they're making themselves the de facto currency of the world. Saudis agreed to start trading with China in the yuan. I don't know if it's finalized yet, but they're in talks to do it. That once the US dollar is no longer being traded as the main currency in Saudi Arabia for petrol, that's it. Everybody else is going to drop it too. Why the fuck would they want to keep an old currency that only they're going to honor? Everybody's going to move to the yuan. Everything's going to shift to the yuan. The rest
Didn't
of the
they
world. Go ahead.
didn't they finalize that? Didn't they finalize that whole treaty thing like a few months ago, where
I want to
Saudi
say, yeah,
Arabia? Yeah, China is united fucking Saudi, and who are they fighting with? What's the other one?
it was fucking, wasn't it Iran or Pakistan or some shit?
Yeah,
Like,
I think it was Iran. I was going to say Iran, but yeah. So
yeah,
they're fucking mates now, and China's the one that came in and was like, "Hey, you guys should be buddies.
yeah, like
This
they
is what we
brokered
can
the
do."
peace. Like the West has been trying to do this for fucking decades. China walked in and was like, "This is stupid. Y'all want to just stop? We'll even give you better currency." And they're like, "You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, this is stupid. Hell yeah, China. Let's fucking go." Like, damn it, damn it. That's all I gotta say.
No one wants to play with them. No, I don't want to sound fucking. Fuck it. No one wants to play with America because America. Look what they've done. Look what the way they've portrayed themselves for the last fucking 150 years. Like you're not. No one wants to play with you. No one wants to play
Not
with you.
anymore.
You're arrogant assholes.
They
You
started.
think, oh, you got something going over there? All right, we're going to come in and we're going to fucking fuck your country up in the name of saving. But actually, we're just going to come in and take all your shit, kill all your children, rape all your women, and leave.
They now again. Sorry, Miller. Don't. We're not trying to just shit on you in the country here, but okay. The easiest way that I've always think of to put it is America's always been like the bully light. Like they show up to bully, but with the good intentions. You know.
Oh, I'm not a nationalist. Like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. No, you're on the same page as us here. And they've been doing it for so long that it's like it's almost past the point of the good intentions still. It's just like, fuck it, we're gonna do it because we could do it. Like it's just we're gonna go for it because what are you gonna do? You're not gonna stop us. And the rest of the world is like, hey, we're kind of getting tired of it. Like we kind of do want to stop it. You know, that's why Russia was able to dig into the Middle East so well. That's why they were welcomed into everywhere that they're welcomed into now. This is why China, again, their dollar, their fucking trade, everything is being welcomed across the fucking globe because with the bullies, right? Let's say we're in a high school era. We'll go for this analogy, right? The high school bully's got two alternatives. He can either straighten himself out and turn himself into a respectable professional and turn himself into a businessman and use his fucking charisma, whatever he's developed as a bully, to be useful and beneficial. Or he can turn into the burnout that beats his wife and kids. Unfortunately, it looks like America's chosen the latter. And it sucks because China has wanted to be the bully. They have been bullying, but they're trying to turn themselves the other direction. They're trying to be the bully with the good intentions. They want to end up as the corporate guru that was that asshole to begin with, but ended up turning it the right way in whatever context they have to. Like, America's unfortunately set themselves up for this for the past fucking 30, 40 years, since Vietnam, basically. I think that was the tipping point. That showed the world that the U.S. was not this giant, unstoppable fucking giant. That was like...
I think
Korea too,
that, you know, China's more like... see, America just doesn't give a fuck. Like, here we are, this is what we're doing, we're making it happen. I think China's a little bit more like the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Long game. They're 100% long game. Fuck this small time shit. Fuck all in a big ship to them. These little investments in Africa to build up the economy, these small time playing, the small shift, like to them, the small shift to the yuan instead of the US dollar. These are huge fucking steps. Yeah. Just these small little investments into Africa. Like you said, these people are going to grow up with loyalty to China, to Beijing.
Let me touch on that when you're done.
Yeah. You can't buy that. You can't just walk into a place and be like, yeah, no, you're going to support us 100%. Like that, they're setting themselves up for it. They're not even doing it forcefully anymore. They're playing these fucking wolf in sheep's clothing game. Do they have the best intentions for it? Probably not. But either way, they're still doing it, and everybody's going with it. Like they have their plan. It's in motion, and it's fucking good.
Yeah, like so it has been beneficial to the West, you know, Europe and the Americas, you know, combined for a dumb Africa and dumb Middle East, okay? Mm-hmm. Which is why we were so hell bent on taking out, you know, reducing Iran and bringing, you know, ousting the king or whatever, and all, you know, in all these Middle Eastern countries, they were so much better off in the 1960s and 70s until the U.S. got involved in the Middle East a lot more, especially in the 40s when we helped the Western Allies establish the State of Israel, which just, it was a domino effect throughout the years for the destabilization of the Middle East. But then, like, so the West wants Africa to be uneducated. They want them to be fighting each other in either tribal affairs or like, like regimes and things of that nature. And that's why the US, has been involved in Somalia since the 80s. And so the US has been involved in Somalia since the 80s because the tyrant that we put in gets kicked out. So then we're like, oh, we got to send troops in because, pirates are going to start going out to sea and stuff because another tyrant is getting put in. We need our tyrant in so that our ships and ships that we want to get through don't get stopped. And, China's going to sit there and they're going to educate, even if it's, filled with propaganda, they're going to educate most of Africa. They're building their roads. They're like, there's not even agreements. They're just like, we're all going to offer you, hey, we're going to help build infrastructure and businesses and, help your communities build these infrastructures and business as long as like you trade with us. And dude, that is like the largest source of cotton, the largest source of so much food and raw materials that it is absolute insanity if China, locks that in, because that is an unlimited supply for a very long time for them, for their manufacturing prowess. And, like you guys were saying how, Trump was really good. Like Trump did make us economically independent through, independent oil and his ending of trading with China, because we're the number one consumers of Chinese goods. So we're like funding the enemy. But I did kind of disagree with that because I'm an open borders guy. I believe in, if I want to do business with some guy in Venezuela, I should be able to do business with some guy in Venezuela. But
fuck yeah.
But in relation to like governments and things like that, like, if they're gonna restrict trade on things, restricting trade on China probably would have been the go-to thing because it would have fucked China. But yeah, it's crazy, bro.
It's an interesting tipping point, 100%. We're at a very interesting precipice in the world right now. There's a lot of stuff that could go one way or the other, and it's kind of interesting to see where it's gonna go.
Yeah, yeah. I often ponder that thought. Everyone always says, we're at a really interesting moment in the world right now. We've been at an interesting moment in the world for the entire time. It just keeps getting more and more interesting.
Oh yeah. Actually, hold on. I could almost rephrase that too. It's an interesting point specifically for the West, for North America, and like even Commonwealth states to a degree. Like stuff's changing very much so. Like the world itself, in the grand scheme, probably isn't going to change a whole lot with this. Humans are still going to farm. Humans are still going to eat food. People are still going to do people stuff, But
not in America, you're not allowed to have a fucking herb garden in your front yard.
Some stuff will be a little bit different.
It'll be taxed by the Chinese. Be like, I own this little plot. It's like,
it's still going to be another cycle. Like there's always this empirical cycle. Like since humanity's developed a civilizational point, there's always the shift of empires. There's a big major global power that dominates. It'll fizzle out as another one steps in, and it's just human nature to lather and repeat. It's just interesting that we're at the point where we're gonna see one ourselves. Like that's always where it's neat, because a lot of people will have like the aftermaths of the aftermath effects or the pre-leading up to effects. But to actually like have the entire thing start to finish, that's going to be.
But you're outside of Rome, motherfucker. I'm in Rome.
You motherfucker, I'm in Spain. Rome affects me. Okay, Rome is my largest trading partner. Rome is my largest open border. All right, yeah, okay. I might not be Rome, but I'm right there, dude. Unfortunately, we are the fucking old couple that lives over a meth lab.
You'll-
Sure, we might not be on the same floor as you, but if the building catches fire, we're fucked too.
Nah, you'll just annex fucking Alaska and have your oil and then build a trade bridge with Russia. Yeah, you guys would be
What do you
good.
mean? We don't need your fucking oil in Alaska. You have any idea how much of the oil in the planet is in Alberta alone? In Canada?
No, I actually
We
didn't.
have. Yeah, no, this is one thing. Okay, this is interesting. This is one thing that's always bothered me. Why does the U.S. import oil from Saudi Arabia and China and Pakistan and all these other areas? We have some of the largest petroleum reserves in the fucking planet, right across the border, dude.
Yeah, so do we.
Like,
so do we.
right
That's
here,
the crazy part.
Alaska, right? Like, why are we fucking shipping this shit around the planet, burning petroleum in the process, mind you? Why are we burning a resource to get said resource to us when we could just fucking send it down a tube across the fucking border? Like, that's one thing that's always made me fucking question. And I mean, the only answer is just big business. You know, people have to make money. All right, I get it. But like, Christ, give us the money instead. You know, like we're your next door neighbor.
It's a
Like,
bit
we
more
can-
of a. I think it's a bit more of a trading game sort of situation. You know, like
Well, that's what I
yeah,
mean.
we
with the
could
money.
we could do that, but if we do, we're not gonna have access to XYZ.
Exactly. You know, we stopped getting
the
oil from
Suez.
Saudi Arabia. You know, they're no longer going to take our export of wheat and grain. You know, we just stopped taking oil from China. They're no longer going to take our export of X. And, you know, it is a chain effect. But, like, why was it started like that in the first place? That's what bothers me.
North
Like,
America doesn't need any of that from anywhere else. Like that's the
No,
thing
you-
that's always bothered me. Like,
Like-
if the they tried to make the North American economic alliance like years ago, and they were like trying to make it to where like we would have like a euro currency and things like that, euro type currency, and like from an economic standpoint, I was like, why don't you
You'd be
just open the
unstoppable.
fucking borders and not fucking charge tariffs between each other and and just go about your business and then trade to the rest of the world from there, because we would have all the like the fruits and vegetables and things of Mexico that like we import a lot of, especially agave, and then like maple syrup from Canada, and then fucking you guys would get like coal.
Dude, even better than that, like, you guys could have access to Canadian grade beef. You know, you wouldn't have to go through like the weird whatever beef you guys have. Like, you could have access to like the good shit. You know, we could just like, sure, here, yeah, buy our oil, fuck, buy our beef too. Like, that's a hell of a deal for us. The Canadian government would be stupid not to buy into something like that. You know, like if like you were saying, if the North Americas were, say, you know, Canada, the United States, and Mexico, if we were to form like an EU, I don't want to say it, but we'd be damn near unstoppable. Like, from an economic and a strategic point of view, we hold fucking a vast amount of the world's resources. A huge chunk of the world's fresh water is in Canada, and I mean like a sizable amount of it.
Yeah.
Like oil, grain access, livestock, like everything. Like, there's no reason we have to be dependent on foreign soil apart from, like you were saying, trade. It's
Yeah.
all about
Yeah.
just making money for everybody in the big picture. These are old deals. They don't want to break their old deals. They don't want to lose their money. They want it all to work and just flow as it has been. So we're stuck doing this shit. It just bugs me because, like, fuck them. Like, why are they
Yo,
making their
fuck
ends
them.
off us? You know, like,
Yep.
don't get me wrong. I get it. Old time trade deals, but like, again, but fuck them. We don't need them as a middleman. Like, we don't need that shit anymore. We're at the point where we should be able to be self-sufficient. We should be able to scrap these old nepotism ties. You know, we don't need this old world shit anymore. We're in the fucking future. We have been for a long time now. Like, just,
Let's just fuck the entire financial system and go back to bartering with fucking salt and pepper.
fuck, even silver or gold. I would be totally all right with going back to a precious resource-based currency instead of a fucking fiat-based currency. Base it off something that's physically tangible, not a number you can inflate whenever you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
The
think
Federal
currency is a
Reserve.
very dangerous thing, though.
I think
an
I think
actual-
a
Sorry,
state
Miller, you
contro-
go.
I think a state controlled currency is a very dangerous thing. So like, the Federal Reserve banking system that has instilled itself in countries around the world, it needs to end. Like, freaking JFK even warned about the power that the Federal Reserve was gaining during his presidency, shortly before he took a drive in an open car in Texas.
Because he was questioning the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't he in the process of fucking like passing bills to shut the doors and like just
Yeah.
finish it off, and then he had an accident
Yeah, I mean, just like Gaddafi in Libya.
We know what happened. I don't know how far the state goes.
He got fucking straight up lead poisoning, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, you look at Libya. Like, that was the entire reason we got involved with killing, assassinating Muammar Gaddafi, is because he was like, fuck this Federal Reserve System, I'm out. We're gonna have our own precious resource based currency. And they were like, no, you can't drop out of your freaking Federal Reserve banking system. What?
Like, how dare you? Who the fuck do you think you are?
Oh,
Jesus.
he's a terrorist who has killed people, and he's just like Saddam and Bin Laden, so we got to go get him. And it just, Jesus Christ, dude. I dare you to ask every single American you run into, be like, hey, do you know why the U.S. was involved in Libya? And they'd be like, we were involved in Libya?
What do you mean? What happened in Libya? Like, yeah. Oh, buddy. You were there for the same reason that most of the other wars have taken place, buddy.
Oh yeah, just like ISIS is the Syrian rebels that we armed and funded. Okay, not we. I hate using we because I'm not the federal government.
No, but like we get what you're saying. Yeah, that's another fun one. Like, didn't a vast number of their resources and training and kind of like everything come from a certain somebody that is now fighting them? Like, just the shit like that, like it's just, it's money in somebody else's pocket. It's for another person's gain. It's motives beyond our pay grade.
God, man, I've been trying to do my best about not thinking about all this because it's just so fucking depressing. But then like the economic shit where like, our economy is about to collapse. Pretty like don't get me wrong, like I thought
it is
April,
collapsing.
May, yeah, it's in the middle of a collapse. So like I was right that like the red started to hit in April. I was expecting the housing market to fall out completely, like this huge housing bubble, because it was just absolutely insane. And they just they pumped some arbitrary finances into certain sectors and shit like that. And they literally have been altering the M3 money supply chart, which is the chart that shows how much money is actually being made by the Federal Reserve. So like
in current in active rotation. Yep.
And it's crazy because like the numbers that they do show that 98% of our currency in circulation was made in the past 3 years. That is Weimar Republic Germany level fucking inflation. And like on the news they're like, oh man, inflation was down 1%. No the fuck it wasn't. It's up 300%. Like,
hold on. Even if it is, that's the thing. Even if it is down 1% to 3 days ago, it's still up 300%. From where it actually was standardized, not this new normalized bullshit, the actual standardized functioning economy, non-deficit, non-recession economy.
Yeah,
because that's a big thing too.
Non-deficit, that hasn't existed in my lifetime.
No, none of us, unfortunately, have ever been able to see that.
Hey, Miller.
Yo.
Miller, your boy Wax messaging me like crazy right now.
Oh, God. Oh man.
Oh god. Do we give that the airtime?
I don't. He gets it. I told you. I'm not him. All right. He's still a Kyle. He's still welcome on here as long as he behaves like you have, Beckwith. Like I thought possibly in the back of my mind that you were going to get on here and you're going to whip your dick out and I was going to have to shut the show off. And it's like, dude, I know you did because I know you too well. I've known you for too long. I was like, dude, I just have a feeling like, I think it's better off if I don't announce that this is going to happen because Beckwith would be more likely to whip his dick out on camera if I told like all the Kyles that he was fucking coming on. Yeah.
No, like if it was meant
pretty cordial, and plus, you got me on a day where, bro, I have been hungover as fuck for the whole start of this. I don't know if you noticed before, but I fucking smashed a nice shot of fucking tequila and nearly threw up, but I'm fucking good now.
Well, you got a couple of hairs of the dog into you now, yeah.
You fucking got to do it. I had a big night last night, boys. I didn't expect to be on here until tomorrow, and then Miller was like, all right, we're going to make this happen today. Like, oh
Yeah,
shit! All right, let me make sure I got a couple of beers in the fridge.
I will apologize on that one. He hit me up asking if I'd be able to go for it tomorrow there. I've got the lady coming by tomorrow there. So I was thinking maybe the afternoon might work. And I said, hey, if we can go tonight, even fucking better. Because I've still got the place for myself here. I've got nothing to worry about tonight. Like, it's just the perfect time to hammer it out. Glad that you are able to make it
Fuck
in.
yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I was excited actually, man. Like yeah, no, I'm happy to be here.
No, it's good stuff,
Okay.
man. And no, it's always nice getting the outside perspective too, because again, like we have a lot of North American guests and views and takes here there, so it's nice to hear the Aussie take on it a little bit and just hearing like the refreshing outside perspective.
Well, had you been here for our last episode, you would have had the Australian take on things, motherfucker.
All right, I can't. Isn't that when my fucking computer blew up in my face?
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you shit.
Yeah, my fucking.
You had Calamane's the Osmerican on.
Yep.
Yeah. Can I give you a little tip here? If you want a real fucking, I mean, I'm an Aussie bogan. Let's just call it how it is. But if you want a real fucking straight up Aussie bogan with some actually, as bogan as they are, pretty goddamn intellectually well put together, you need to get Kyle Pierce on here, brother. He's a fucking good dude.
Oh yeah, no, I've actually I believe. Let me look at my messages. I believe I've talked to Pierce about coming on and that he was interested.
Honestly, when I hear terms. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. You go.
I was gonna say, when I hear terms like bogan or chav or like whatever, I always naturally I want to talk to these people because generally they seem to be the most real. Like I have met plenty of people that are, oh yeah, this guy's a fucking goof. Like sweet, let's go talk to him. Like he's probably got some good shit to say. Like there's a reason he's been branded as whatever, and he's as real as he is. It's because he doesn't give a fuck. So he's gonna say what's actually on his mind. He's not gonna bullshit and beat around the bush, man. Like my buddy came. Well, I didn't know him at the time, but I met somebody who had just come back from Oz when I was working with him. And all he did was hang around with bogans. And he came back and he even said, he's like, yeah, I kind of picked up like some of how they were speaking and shit. Like, you're going to hear some weird shit out of me. And it was fucking hilarious. But like, he was an intellectual person still. Like, yeah, he had his quirk and he was a little bit kind of rough around the edges, but he was still like, he was a good fucking guy. Give you the shirt off his back kind of shit. He'd hold an intellectual conversation. Like, a lot of times, like, it's just this weird title, like, even chavs with, the UK, like, yeah, or even here, like, some of the hood rats you might see, like, yeah, all right, they might come across as whatever, but most of the time, they're pretty solid fucking people, like.
Oh, yeah, no, so Pierce is, we actually refer to him, so Pierce is from Tasmania, and
Okay.
we refer to him as the Tasmanian bogan, but I mean, look, as bogan as he is, dude's got a mullet.
Oh, word. All right.
He's the most magnificent mullet you've ever seen in your life. A hectic fucking used car salesman stash. Fucking, but he's actually, he's quite a highly intellectually well put together bloke, and he's got really, really good opinions on. He's pro Russia.
Now, okay, I it probably does show a little bit. My lineage is actually Russian. Like I do have that pro-Russian bias myself, but I try to stay somewhat neutral, like the best I can for a bit of this. Like it face to face outside of the camera, I'll go the fuck off. But when it comes to the show, I try not to, because I don't want to alienate people, like especially being one of the hosts. Like I don't want to sit there and be like, oh fucking here's what's going on, here's my take, and fucking here's like. Yeah. I would be more than down to have him on the show to hear that take on it, to kind of be able to go back and forth there for a little bit. Because, yeah, it's very, very interesting stuff going on over there. And I have to kind of bite my tongue to try and stay impartial, to make sure I'm not alienating people. Because I don't want people to tune into like a weird part of the show and I'm just going off about Russia.
But isn't that kind of the point too? But like let's you just get it happening, man. Like, and take it or leave it. Like, fucking.
Don't get me wrong.
You know what I mean?
That's my view. That's my view. Like I try and be as genuine to myself as possible.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I won't ever like say something that I don't agree with, but I will bite my tongue sometimes just to not cross like any bridges. Like I guess that's more so where I go. Like I try to, like I won't ever be like, oh yeah, no, like Russia's a fucking fool for doing any of this. Like you even notice, like I've said, yeah, Putin said some controversial, he's done some controversial stuff, but never once said like, yeah, that guy's a fucking goof, get him out of fucking office. Like I'll kind of dance around it. But if anybody ever is like comes to me directly, like especially even on the show, if you were to be like, hey man, what do you think of Putin? I'd be like, I don't disagree. I'd leave him there, and then I'd leave it at that unless somebody wanted to dig into it. And then naturally, I'll go for it. Like I will explain it. So that's kind of why I want to talk to Pierce, because we can talk about it more and more. But I don't want to just like dump it on somebody, because if they're just listening to the podcast, all they're gonna think is, oh, this guy's just ranting and raving about Putin and Russia. Like, what the? I want to fucking listen to this, man. Like, it's some fucking red flag toting motherfucker. Like, get me out of here. I'm good. Like.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could always do
it.
that specific thing on the free source one that the only episode we posted was when this all kicked off, dude, and we did a good job though. We sat down, we broke down, our beliefs on what was going on, and broke down like the map and all this crazy shit, and it was good.
That was actually one of the first ones that we ever did. I did go that straight pro-Russia take, but I also played devil's advocate. I explained the strategic value of what both of them were doing and how this could affect that. And like, I try to be somewhat unbiased, but I definitely was Russian leaning 100%. I think that's why I've tried to kind of shy away from it. Like, I don't want people to tune in here and be like, all right, it's the pro-Russia podcast. Like, let's go, like, cause that's not at all what it is, like it's, I have the takes. I really want to make sure that the listeners know that it is as unbiased as we can be. I'll have the opinions. You guys know, you've heard it already. I try to be polite and considerate. I think it's the Canadian thing. Honestly.
What is it you always say about me? It'd be like, the opinions expressed by the host do not reflect the opinions held by the podcast as an entity.
The opinions expressed by either of the hosts do not reflect the actual opinions or any of the actual standings of the channel as a whole. We do remain unbiased as a publicitation, as an actual organization here. These are merely just the opinions expressed by the hosts and people therein, cover the ass just to be safe.
That's normally because I'm saying some off the wall shit on either the podcast or Twitter, dude. But hey, that got us hundreds of thousands of views on Twitter, all right?
Hey, I'll leave that shit. I'll just throw my little 2 cents. Like, just by the way, folks, like this is just a one person opinion, just to cover our ass.
It's just Miller. I'm throwing him under the bus. Fuck you, bud.
Basically, I just write it in corporate instead. Instead of being like, yeah, it's fucking this guy. You're pissed. Fucking deal with him, please.
I fucking love throwing cunts under the bus. Oh shit, am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. I've said some pretty fucked things.
I have been so good, dude. Bro. I think that's the first C-bomb I've dropped.
I know. I'm proud of you. Bro. I'm proud of you.
That's usually in every second sentence. So my apologies.
For you, that word is like our buddy. Like, it's a very chill. You just use it interchangeably.
You got good cunts, shit cunts, mad cunts, and gay cunts. So there's all different levels of cunts.
Yeah, it's either the same thing for buddy or for goof. You've got a wonky goof, you've got a loud goof, like whatever. Like, it's still gonna be the same thing. Like, yeah, no, don't worry about that. Like,
we haven't gotten any hits. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, you're good. I've purposely been making a point of like dropping swears and shit to try and like don't worry about that. We're an adult podcast. We're listed as NSFW, not safe for work in theory. Like, it's 18 plus. You should be listening to this as an adult and take it with an open mind. Like, swears are just words.
Cunt. Yeah, I'm just gonna get it out.
Get it out, buddy. Get it out, man. Guy's been holding on to it for so long, man.
See, now, get it out. I feel like, like, I'm not gonna say it just because like that word for me personally. Like, I only use that for the mother of my youngest, and like that is the only person I think I've ever used that word for, because
should I be?
Go ahead.
Should I be? Okay, so I'm coming to America, right? And so as far as I'm aware, Americans are really put off by that word, and like it is just, it's naturally occurring in my language, right? So do I need to be real careful?
No, if you're not like don't call a female randomly, like a random female, be like, oh, you cunt, be like, come here, you cunt. But like, dude, like if you tell that to a random female, like, there's gonna be issues.
No, I think it comes out in I think the difference is obviously accent, but it's also it's tone and message. So like, I can walk into a room and be like, "Oh, what's up, cunts?" Yeah, that's clearly not offensive.
Yeah. Like, the main usage, like up here too, like, if I'm gonna use that word, I'm using it because I want that person to know that I think they're fucked up and I am done with their shit. You know, like if I'm saying that to somebody, I want, like, it's a sharp word, you know, I want it to cut through like a fucking military knife hand. You know, I want them to know, like, you're a cunt. Like, it's a sharp word. If I'm saying that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think in Australia, it's very hard to properly insult someone because our language is so fucking
Built
flippant.
around it.
Yeah, you're prisoners.
don't
You're
have-
fucking prisoners who rebelled and fucking took over the island. Of course, like Jesus, you live. Your founders literally lived the life that I have, and then we're like, "Oh, we're gonna make a fucking nation out of this shit and fuck Britain for a little bit."
Oh shit! But yeah, it's actually hard to find the right concise insult now because you know what it is. You know what it is actually. If you call someone a dog, and not
Okay.
dog, dog is okay. DAWG. That's sweet. Like, what's up, dog? If
Yeah.
you're a dog, that'd be like Americans' version of cunt.
Okay. See, okay, I should rephrase something I said earlier. Okay. Depending on where you are in Canada, this sounds weird, but that's actually goof. Some people, you call them a goof.
Wait. Isn't now? I could be wrong, but I was told by a friend not long ago that in Canada, goof or goofball is pedophile.
It's a Skinner.
What's a Skinner?
That is what you
pedophile.
just described. Yeah. Here, at least where we are, that would be what's known as a Skinner. A goof is just like somebody who is like not worth the time of day. You couldn't trust him with a number 2 pencil. Like, the guy is just goofy. He's a goof. He's a write-off. Don't even bother to talk to him. He's going to waste your time. Everything he says is just
so he's a piece of shit.
He's a goof. Yeah, exactly. He's a piece of shit. He's the kind of guy you walk past on the street saying, "No, fuck you. I don't have shit for you. Get fucking bent." And
so
then he runs his little speech.
Kyle Jack Mercer.
Now, all right.
Let me just quickly. I just want to quickly just touch on that real quick because listen. With that particular person that was just brought up, at the end of the day, look, we've all had beef there. We've had some fucking serious beef there, eh?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's time to fucking move on, bro. Like, it's gone so far out of control. It's unbelievable now. And the guy, on a personal level, the guy's not that bad. He's actually pretty good, man. And I think that you, Miller, and that particular person have just got it's built up so fucking much.
Well, listen,
that it's
I've had really good conversations with him, dude. Like, I've talked to him legitimately for like hours on like mental health and shit. But it's when he fucking has an episode, dude, that it's just like it snaps, and he's a totally different person when that happens. And
I think that's exactly what it is, though. It's a snap. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, look, I'll be honest. I've been best mates with the guy. I've been worst enemies with the guy, and right now I'm sort of in between. And I do have the time of day, and I do talk to him quite often, actually, and we've been pretty cordial. And I have see, this is what I was trying to say before with trying to move shit along and leave shit in the past and just fucking get over it. Let's all just get along. Let's be kumbaya. That's what I'm trying to do anyway, personally. I mean, and a big part of that is me jumping on this podcast with you, Miller. I mean, I have had some. I mean, I was going to send a metric ton of shit to your house.
Oh, I know. Yeah. But like, here's the thing. Like, my whole life, dude. Like, except for like. It's kind of fucked up to say, but except for like my close family, like I am a huge purveyor of truth. Like, I don't like lying to people. I don't like people who lie. I don't like people who take credit for things that they had nothing to do with, or like, did the exact opposite of like help build communities and shit like that. And like in my eyes, you being, an OG member of the council, for example, who have contributed to the culture, have more of a claim of like, using the council or whatever name than fucking Jack does. Because Jack has been the antithesis of what like Kyle communities should be for so long. And then like all of a sudden he just, has this epiphany that he's like, well, I can just pretend to be these people and literally just told me yesterday that like he made the kingdom in the wrong year that the kingdom was first used and all this crazy shit, said he filed the copyright and all this. I'm just like, oh, dude, it's just
the only thing I have to say on this, and I can't remember on whose post I made it, but I made a comment. I stand by it. It's a quote from Chernobyl. I just recently watched it, but the quote rang true nonetheless. Every lie told incurs a debt to the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner or later, that debt clears itself. Sooner or later, the debt catches up. Every single lie stacks onto it. That pile is coming down eventually. People can say whatever they want. There can be all kinds of shit going on here. I'll go back to another point we were talking about earlier. At the end of the day, it's fuck all in a big ship. We can all close our Facebook. We can go outside. We can go fishing. We can go bitch at the fact that eggs cost $8. Like there's other shit that we can go and worry about instead of Buddy and his posts on Facebook, Or
I guess two real quick points. Number one, Miller, the name is changing. Get ready for something totally different. It's going to be fucking
really
epic.
No, like I shouldn't
be talking about it.
I'm excited, dude, because listen, like it's not. I love more Kyle culture shit, bro. Like
so there's a lot of shit happening right now in the background that I really shouldn't be talking about, but I've had a shot of tequila and 3 beers now, so but it's happening, and be excited because it's going to be awesome. And the other thing, fucking shit. What was the other thing?
Was it that quote?
Never mind. No, I don't know what it was. Let's just keep moving because it'll come back to me and I'll bring it up then.
I'm excited about that though, dude, because like then we can work together. Like it's the fucking like copycat type stuff that has bugged me because it confuses people and it's like it's just oh god. And there's just been so much of it, not even just you guys, and it's done nothing but like hurt our general movement and
divide and conquer.
Yeah.
The thing is that what's coming with the name change is actually going to be a helpful lending hand to both groups involved, and that's the point at the end of the day. So it's not a rivalry stab. It's we're actually gonna work out quite well together.
I hope so, dude. Because I mean, that's all I fucking care. I just care
about. That's the point, baby. That's the point, baby. It's all about fucking growth and fucking moving forward, baby, and that's what we're trying to do.
The council's been divided for long enough at this point. Like we can all admit it. Everybody knows it. Like I've only been around since I want to say the second or the third council, but I've been around long enough to remember what it was. Yeah, it's always been a little hectic. Don't get me wrong. There's always been.
Can I tell you exactly what the fucking problem with? I mean, my personal opinion on what the problem is with the division and why we'll currently won't get back to the member list that we had before. Personally, I believe, now hear me out, we had the council, all right? We got to, 6,500, 7,000 members? It was fucking beautiful. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what happened, dude? What happened is that someone made fucking KOK beards, someone made KOK kitchen, someone made KOK gaming alliance, someone made KOK court, KOK tradesman. There's about 15 or 20 different fucking KOK variations. So all of a sudden, the main group itself became redundant because if you're a Kyle and you're only interested in XYZ, and I've got KOK this and KOK that and KOK that, I don't give a fuck about the main group anymore. So then the main group where it all used to happen became somewhere to shit on each other, somewhere to fight, somewhere to shitpost with crappy memes or crappy, because all the content wasn't localized in one area anymore. We could split it off into all these different places. And then when the Zuckening happened, right, we're not going to get back there because when the Zuckening happened, everyone went, you know what? I don't give a fuck because I've got all these little subgroups. I'll just hang out in there. Mm-hmm. And so, bam, we lost all these fucking members that we were all collectively together as one. And now we've been split into
These subgroups,
You know
these
what I'm trying to
divisions.
say.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Well, and I can explain why I disagree with you. And Kroos makes a really good explanation of it, and I've researched it myself. Is that back during the founding of the group, the algorithm was made for you to see things that you like, okay, and then slowly and more and more, the algorithm was changed because things that you don't like, things that get a rise out of you, are more engaging than things that you like. It's very hard for the average human to be like, oh man, flowers and butterflies every day, than it is to be like, politics that you disagree with, and debates, and boom boom boom, because you get this fiery passion going. And that changed the whole outlook of the group for individuals, because instead of seeing the shit that they were like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, Kyle's, man, like, we're just all Kyle's together and shit, like they start seeing like, holy shit, we have Nazis in this fucking group, like literal like hints and fucking and Nazi Miller shit like that, and like, people.
I've had the exact same conversation with Kroos, and what I think it comes down to is it's that point that you just made, and it's the point that I just made, that come together that make exactly the issue that we're going through right now. They both contribute to the same thing.
Well, and my one thing is like, it's not a numbers game for me. It is for me personally, it is a more meaningful connection. And like, I know that, the state group that I started in Virginia, those are my friends for fucking life, dude. Like I am so
Hey, can I
close
take
to
a
those
piss on
motherfuckers.
you?
Huh? Yeah, just don't show me your dick while you're taking a piss.
Take off the camera at least, because we do have to put this up in some places.
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunately, yeah, it's there's a couple different reasons it's caused a divide there, and it is hard to bring everybody back to one place, because like you said, they've all settled into their own little niche groups, their own subgroups, their own little subsections almost. And it's very hard to lure somebody out of where they're comfortable, because like you said, why would they want to look at everybody posting about everything when they could only focus on the content that they want? If they're only interested in the gaming side of hanging out with Kyle's, then the KOK Gaming Alliance works for that. Like there's gaming. Like if that's all you were interested in, there's no reason to join a main group. But I still think that there is, just so that we appreciate you taking it down, homie.
Yeah, I took it down.
Well, you took it down.
Yeah,
Word,
let me know when you're done, Becky.
He's back up.
I'm back, baby.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, no, it is tricky to bring everybody back. I just hope that eventually, people do start finding their way back. That's one of the things that I'm kind of hoping, and maybe not necessarily to a unified group, but just at least so that everybody's still communicating with each other. So, we can show out Kyle, Texas. We can, through our own group and our own numbers, we can break that fucking record a million times over. Like we shouldn't have to rely on that doing that. Like that just stole our fucking thunder. Like we're Kyle's, for fuck's sake. We should be the ones putting this together. We have the numbers. We have the people. Like we shouldn't need some random city's government to go ahead and pull the string. Like fuck that shit. Again, we're Kyle's. Like, we should be drawing from all of these little subgroups and putting together a massive fucking cluster. Like, this is ridiculous.
And my take on the whole Kyle thing was like, and it's my personal take, it's not the take of every fucking admin of our group. And, that's, been very apparent the past few days. But like, we're not at the beck and call, at the whim of a month of the fucking city government of fucking Kyle, Texas. Like, like I'm down that, they listened to us this time though. We're like, dude, you give us almost a year to prepare, we're going to break that fucking record. And they announced the day after the fair what day the fucking record attempt was going to be next year. And so they listen. It's like, yeah, I'm totally down to go, but I'm not going to act like you're like, my master with a fucking whip behind me telling me to get to Kyle, Texas, or else I'm not a Kyle type shit. Like, so.
And seeing that's what bothers me about this. I wasn't a part of it. Don't get me twisted. The Kyles created the Kyle convention, I guess, right? Like, I wasn't a part of that. I'm not going to try and claim any part of that. I'm just here. I'm Dog. I'm Podcast. What's up? That's me. We still created that so that we'd have somewhere as Kyles to come collectively. They're stealing our fucking thunder from that. I understand, yeah, okay, it makes sense because it is Kyle, Texas, and we did go there at one point, but we shouldn't be going, like you said, to their beck and call. We should be going there to be a part of Kyle Con, wherever we decide that is. Like, if we decide we go there, it should be because we decide that, not because it feels like we have to, or because they've already set up this fucking Kyle Con that we now have to honor and adhere to. Like, that to me, it just, I don't know, it feels cheap. Like, I almost don't want to have Kyle Con there again, because now it just looks like we're bending the knee to them. Like,
Yeah,
That's kind of shitty, eh?
Yeah, and we did find out that the reason they didn't reach out is because their fucking events manager is a new person from the one that knew us from when we held KyleCon there during their festival. Well, which was supposed to be during their festival that they canceled on us.
we still held it there though. Like,
Yeah,
even if
yeah,
it's a
no,
different
I know.
person, like, there's other people in government that are going to remember that. Like, there's other officials. Like, guarantee you the fucking cops remember that. Like,
Oh yeah,
there's no
definitely,
way,
because we
there's
literally
no way it
rented
just-
the bar behind the police station.
Yeah, like, there's no way that this just slipped from everybody's memory. Like, this almost feels like a conscious thing to just kind of subvert our own group, which just feels weird, feels dirty. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want to bend the knee and give into it. I don't like it. No, just, that rubs me the wrong way.
It's like fuck you, Kyle, Texas. You ain't fucking growing off of our back.
Yeah,
Well, almost, right? Like, it's now we're fueling their fare as well, and whatever they've got going. Like, they're piggybacking off of us with this. Like, that, the reason we went there is because it was Kyle, Texas. Like, it had nothing to do with their fucking fare. It just lined up. They were happening to have a fare, so we jumped in with them.
Did
Like,
you see?
now it's
Did you see the article that I shared from the year before we had our KyleCon there? That they called all these Kyles to come just like they did this year, and like they totally fucked them over. There wasn't even anybody there to keep the record count, and like they charged them to get in and shit. So it was shit like that. Like, that's why I'm like, dude, it's a city government, and like the city of Kyle's actually like a pretty authoritarian fucking, police department, and but like, they were cool to us because, hey, there's a bunch of Kyles coming to town, but like, it's just, yeah, it was this whole weird thing. I've been getting shit from Mercer about it, but it's like, dude, it's like you didn't put your money up to fucking go down there.
Stop name dropping that.
yeah, it's I don't know.
It's so bad.
What? What's so bad?
It might just bringing him up. It's so much nonsense. You know what? That might be a good place to call it then, just because he is coming up a couple times here.
Yeah.
Might be a good place to wrap it here.
Well, this episode of The Only Kyle Show was brought to you by the Council of Andrews.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Fuck that. This episode of The Only Kyle Show was brought to you by us and you, not the fucking Council of Andrews, not some third-party bullshit person. It was put out, managed, run, everything done by the Kyles, and that's the way it always will be. That's the way that it always should be.
Kyle.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. That's exactly it. It is about us for us. There's no extra involvement. Every now and then we might have a guest on that's named not Kyle, but the hosts, the producers, everything, it will always be by us for us. All of it.
And like, that gives me a good moment to mention that Kyle Moore is going to be, when he gets the chance, going to be hosting his own segment that is going to be history based. I don't know exactly how he's, how he's going to do it, but he's a historian. He's been on this podcast numerous times. And so it's going to be his hosted episode, and we'll probably me and you will probably be in and shit. But like, we wanted to bring him onto the team and fucking give him a shot, because I love when he goes into history, because he fucking just loses it. Like, he goes into this shit and he's just like, he's fucking any history story, he's like fucking balls deep in, fucking jacking it to fucking knowledge about fucking, I don't know, like Abraham Lincoln or some shit.
And now, like, that kind of passion is massive. Like, if there are any other Kyles that have a topic that they feel like they could keep coming back to, I mean, shit, bro, like, if you have a topic that you want to keep coming back to, you, like, feel free, let us know, hop in here with us. If it is enough that you think that you can actually just run your own shit with it, we'll feel it out for a little bit. I mean, hell, we can probably even let you do it. Like, there's no, like, this isn't supposed to be just about Miller and Dog as the Only Kyle podcast. We want other people to come in here with us and produce their own content as well. It's just, we're the first ones here. It's all it is. You guys have ideas, you have pieces that you want aired, you want to hear your stuff put out there, reach out to us, talk to us. We're more than happy to work with it. In fact, we're encouraging it. Again, this is supposed to be by and for everybody, all of the Kyles.
Yep.
So, you're a content creator, you've got stuff you want to get out there, go for it. You're not a content creator, you've never done it before, but you've got shit that you want to get off your chest, jump in an episode with us. If not, if you want to do it just solo, talk to us. We'll vet it. You can do it solo. Fuck, like we can work it out. It's not a dictatorship.
Yeah.
We're open.
And we now have the established platform in which to do it. Like
Exactly. You have a place to throw your voice, and we're everywhere. Spotify, Apple, like you name it, we're there. You want to get your voice out? There are people that are listening. We're not massive yet. I'm not going to try and pump ourselves up. We're not huge, but we're getting there. We still have our valued listeners, the folks, you guys that tune in regularly, and all the new people that are coming in every day too. Like we're going to get there eventually, but as it stands right now, there is still the platform to stand on and start getting your voice out there. Shit, for all you know, your segment could be the one that puts us on the map, that starts pulling in the tens, 20,000s of people. We don't know. That's the joy of it, Like we've been trying to do it ourselves. We might do it one day. It could be you. It could be that one fucking weird story about your dog that you've never told anybody. That could be the piece that just moves the fucking podcast listeners, Like reach out. Don't be afraid.
God, some of the content that we've made, bro. Oh, geez, like that many people started listening to it.
Hey, that's the thing. Like everything starts out rough. Think about the first season of damn near anything. It's normally pretty interesting. And we're not editing our shit. We don't go back. We don't tune it. We don't trim stuff unless it's something absolutely heinous. But I don't even know that we've had to do that yet. Like, yeah, it might not be the best quality content.
Get me on here pretty drunk. We'll get some heinous shit out.
Well, no, I have a soundboard for that, all right?
There we go. Yeah. And like, even if it is something, like if something slips, like we can do it in post. We can go and edit. We can pull stuff out if we absolutely need to. We never do it because we want to have it be as genuine of a listening experience as it can be. We want you folks to sit in.
Be authentic, baby.
Exactly. We want you to sit in and converse with us. You might not be speaking, but you could be the guy at the party that's just chilling, drinking his drink, kind of vibing a little bit, just listening, enjoying the show. Like we want you to feel like you're a part of it. Hence the no editing, hence the raw shit, hence the stuttered thoughts, the hanging on seconds as you put your thought together, like all of it. It's genuine.
Yeah, I hope you guys are open to inviting me back on here again in the future, because there's 100%. So much that I would love to dive into. Unfortunately, I started this chat pretty hungover and not in the right way. But man, there's so much that needs to be said. So much that needs to go on, and I think this particular podcast is a very good show of specifically between Miller and myself. At the end of the day, it's not the mistakes that you make in life that define you as a person. It's how you handle what happens. It's how you handle the consequences of those mistakes. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, we all fuck up. Mistakes don't define you. It's what you do because of that mistake that defines you as a person.
Mm-hmm. It's how you handle it.
We all fuck up.
Exactly. Everybody makes mistakes. I've made mistakes. It's how you recover. It's how you handle it and how you live with it. It doesn't have to define you. You're not going to be able to erase a mistake, but you don't have to let it drag you down your entire life. It doesn't need to be an anchor keeping you down. Sure, it can be a paddle that drags behind you as you go through the water, but it can't tie you down.
Hey, man, never let it tie you down. Fucking embrace that shit. Yeah. Like every single moment of your life is what turns you into the person that you are right now. So embrace that shit. Like let it thrive. Wear it like a badge. I am that person because of the person I was before.
Mm-hmm. I would not be the man I am had it not been for the experiences I've gone through. A lot of shit shapes every single person. Every little moment, that sip that you're about to take right now could help shape something within you. You never know. Like every little thing, like the fact that I'm just sitting here staring at this really bright light, so there's decent illumination on my damn near translucent skin, that might affect me at some point. Like maybe I'll look at it and be like, I might look at it and be like, fuck, I'm pasty. I might go out to the beach now from it. Like every little thing.
Don't worry, the podcast is sepia toned. Okay.
Perfect.
Wait, can you get a tan in Canada?
Oh hell yeah. Oh yeah. So where I live, you're Celsius, right? You're not freedom units?
Yeah.
Okay. I shit you not. From winter to summer, the summer with the humidity will get routinely up to plus 45. The hottest I've seen is plus 48.
Wow, really?
My G word. Now here's where it gets fucked up. My city specifically, we are one of the harshest climates in the world, next to like the Sahara fucking desert, because in the winter, the coldest I've ever seen is minus 58 with the wind chill. So more than 100 degree temperature difference, and it's normally over the course of like 2 months. So February, we're minus 40. March, we're getting minus 20-ish. You get into April, it starts to zero out. By the time you're in June, we're plus 30. Like right today, it was 32 degrees outside. And that's not with
that's
humidity.
hectic.
That's the fucking temperature. And come October, we're going to be back at zero. Come November, we're going to be back down to minus 20. December, we're going to be minus 30s, minus 40s. And it's just lather, rinse, repeat. Now, don't get me wrong. Is it extreme? Yes. God fucking damn, it's extreme. But I can move anywhere in the fucking world. I could move next door to you and I can handle the heat. I could move next door to Ivan, Siberia, and handle the cold. It doesn't fucking matter. I've been there. I've done it. Throw it at me.
Yeah, fuck yeah, that's the diggity.
But
See,
yeah,
where I am here, it gets where I am here. I'm pretty fortunate, like I said before, in a beach town, so I constantly have that fucking ocean breeze, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the trouble that I deal with is the humidity, bro. So like it gets quite hot here. I mean, I'm in Queensland. I don't know if you know much Australian climate, but Queensland is the hot place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it gets fucking hot, but it's not the heat that gets you, man. It's the fucking humidity, dude.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's just sticky.
Luckily here, it's pretty dry because again we're landlocked, right? Like there's a lot of small lakes, there's ponds and rivers, but we don't have the ocean. When I I've been out like coast to coast. I've traveled all over between Canada and the U.S. here. I've been to Mexico as well, but the worst, I think genuinely the worst heat, worse than Mexico, was on the coast next to the fucking ocean. Because the second you walk outside, you are wet, you are sticky, head to toe, and that moisture is hot. What the fuck is that? Why do you live there? Why do you live in a place where you walk outside and immediately you're just covered in heat?
It is.
Like,
it is.
Dude, sometimes sitting at the pub up here, like I'll go out to the smokers area, just sit there, have a beer. You're not doing anything, but you're fucking dripping, dog. Like it's fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
So
like I go ahead.
So I sweat really bad. Like it is well known, especially since I've been on this medication, which just arrived today for my last month dose. Yes. So like right now it's 96% humidity here.
Damn.
And fucking,
What the
but dude,
fuck?
listen, normally like in Virginia, 70% humidity and 80 degrees, I'm dripping fucking bad, right? Like I'm sweating no matter what. Here, living so close to the ocean and like on this peninsula, dude, it's like inland, it sucks. Like where my parents are at right now with my kids, I don't like it there. Like it's just a stale humid if it's not breezy at all. And but like here, dude, it stays generally breezy even on like normal days and shit.
Yeah,
the
you've got
sun
the winds
though,
coming off the water.
the sun. I normally tan very easy. Like I'll burn once and tan. Dude, I fucking had like Sydney had really bad burns. I had really bad burns too. Like worst burns that I've ever had, dude. I've not fucked with sun this hard in so long, and it just like fried the fuck out of us.
No, I cannot do that wet heat. Honestly, like put me a minus 50. Give me minus 50 over that bullshit. You know why? Everybody thinks I'm fucking crazy, but I'm going to hit you with some Canadian wisdom, okay? Listen to me. If it's plus 50, you can only take off so many layers before it's illegal or you hurt yourself, right? One of two alternatives.
Yeah.
If it's cold, you can put on a layer. If it's still cold,
You're
guess
speaking my
what?
language.
You
brother.
put on another
I've been-
fucking layer. Like, you get it.
I've been
You just
saying
keep-
that.
Turn yourself into the
I've
Stay
been
Puft
saying that for
Marshmallow
so
Man.
long.
Like, you'll turn into the Michelin Man. I don't give a fuck. Become an onion. 90 layers. You can get uncold. You cannot get unhot. Once you're hot, you're fucked. Find air conditioning, jump in the water or something. If there's nothing, fuck you. You're screwed. That's it. That's all there is to it.
Sydney just said in the background, she was like, no, that doesn't work for me. I can't get warm by just adding layers.
Oh no, you can. Trust me. Trust me. I'll give you Canadian layers. You put 2 of them on.
Well, no,
sweating.
she might
bro.
be anemic though. So
dude, trust me. Canadian gear does not fuck around, man. It's like Russian. We live in this shit. We live in minus 50.
Well, guess what?
A couple months of the year, bro.
For the foreseeable future, neither me nor her have to deal with fucking cold weather. And
you make a good point.
I'll be honest, dude. Like I used to love the shit out of the cold until I became an adult and had to work in it. So like,
I've worked in the cold. I've worked in minus 40. I've worked in minus 50 as a framer, as a fucking, you name it, as a trade man. I've done snow clearing in blizzards where it's blowing wind at like 70 kilometers an hour. Like,
yeah, but see, here's the thing: when you're working in the cold, right? Because you're moving, it's not that cold.
You don't
It's
feel
not
it.
that cold.
Well-
It could be fucking -3, and I can go for a jog, and I'll be sweet, man.
Well,
Oh, yeah. No,
my
you don't
problem
feel it.
is I put on like a snowsuit, like a worker's snowsuit, and then I sweat, and
No,
then that shit gets fucking
Oh,
cold.
and then you get fucking hypothermia.
Yeah, because you sweat into your layers, the layers freeze, brings down your body temperature, you end up hypothermic and you're fucking useless. What you're doing wrong is that right there. What you do is you throw on 5 thinner layers that you can peel off as you go. I'll show up on okay, if it's the middle of winter and I'm showing up to a job site, I'll throw on like a thermal layer, like basically like spandex as my base layer. Over that, I'll throw my regular clothes, just a pair of jeans or pair of pants, whatever, and a shirt. On top of the shirt, I'll throw a sweater, possibly 2, and then a jacket. Because as I'm working, I'm going to start to heat up. Okay, ditch the jacket. Okay, I'm starting to heat up some more, ditch the sweater. Eventually, you'll end up at your regular shirt with your thermal layer. You could, like, even if you're in coveralls, you can strip right down to your regular clothes with your thermal layer and work in -20 degrees. Like, you'll be fucking fine. Your heat will carry itself easily enough. And then when you stop working, you throw on a sweater. You don't throw on your whole kit so you immediately start sweating again. You throw on a sweater because it's starting to get chilly. Oh, you're cooling down some more, throw on another sweater. Throw on the jacket. Don't just immediately wrap yourself in heat like that, because you've got like you said, it's the one of two alternatives. You're either fucking sweating your ass off or you're freezing your ass off. You got to have the ability to kind of like moderate it, turn yourself into a thermostat, like think of clicking through the degrees is just taking off the different layers, like
It's like when you sleep. It's like when you're sleeping, man. One of my biggest things is my leg is my thermostat. So if I'm sleeping and I'm going to sleep, right, you fucking you're getting a bit too hot. Cock that leg outside the blanket, homie.
Yeah,
it brings you right down.
Oh yeah.
Brings you right down.
There was a quote, and I think it was from a First Nations, like a folktale here. And I can't remember what it may not have been First Nations, but it was an old folktale either way. And it was this dude was like walking through a snowstorm. And it's 2 people. They're walking through a snowstorm and they come across this like wizard, fairy, whatever, somebody that can grant wishes. And one of them goes, "Oh yeah, I wish that you'd give me a sled so that I can quickly get myself to the next town." And the other guy goes, "Okay, I just want a pair of boots." And he says, "Well, all right, sure, whatever." So they keep going, and the guy in the sled takes off, and he gets a crazy distance down the road. And the guy with the boots just kind of trudging along. He's not making great distance, but he's comfy. And he ends up catching up to the guy with the sled, who's sitting there, unfortunately frozen. He's hypothermic. The guy he moved on, right? Because your feet can massively determine your total body temperature, man. Your feet alone can be your thermostat, man. Your hands as well, your extremities, like massive chunks, basically radiators, right? Your blood's going through it. It's a massive limb to radiate that heat off, man. Like, yeah, throwing on a pair of boots or even just taking off your shoes or your socks, popping your foot out of the blanket, fuck, wonders, man.
Bro, you want to be warm? Put a beanie on. 70% of your heat goes out of your fucking head. Put a fucking beanie on. You'll be fucking warm.
That's why we wear toques. Fucking, I don't have it handy here. I have, those big fuck off fur hats. I have several of them. That's what you wear in -50. You want to go to Canada?
Old school fucking Russian fucking hats.
Well, yeah. No, genuinely,
you are a fucking little commie, aren't you?
I'd always been fascinated with the country, not so much the USSR, but just like the Russian history as a whole there. And I ended up finding out like years after the fact, like apparently a huge chunk of my lineage actually is from Russia. We had no idea. We went back, dug through, we figured out that the family, I think it was like 2 generations back, immigrated over from Russia to Mexico, where we thought the family was from. So like it's been a while.
You are gonna fucking love Pierce, bro. You're gonna have the best chat in the world.
Oh, I'm so down. I'm eager to meet him for sure. Yeah, but yeah, no, those big fur hats, like the Russians wear them, like Finns, Norway, like any place that gets properly fucking cold, yeah, we'll wear a dead animal because it just fucking works. It'll keep the heat in from the top of your head, because that's another way. You want to cool down? If you're wearing a hat, pop the hat off. Let that air get to your actual scalp. You'll radiate heat off you like it's fucking nothing.
All right, we are at the 2-hour mark, so I'm gonna have to call it before Sydney kills me that she hasn't been able to watch TV or something. We can continue this another time, though. Like I said, definitely welcome back, Becky. You've been well behaved.
Yeah, I'm well behaved. Come on now.
No, it's been a good show.
Don't say like that's not deserved in some way, shape, or form.
I could have easily got my butthole out.
Oh Jesus!
Please
Yeah.
don't. Please don't.
God, I've seen yours and Murphy's so many goddamn times.
Way too many times.
Jesus, dude.
No,
I could
guys,
tell the pattern.
I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's been great. And I could sit here and shoot the shit for another 10 hours. So if you want to have me back on, I'd really appreciate it. We can fucking keep going and fucking see where we end up.
Hell yeah,
To be
dude.
honest, man, we have some links set up where you can book in scheduled slots where we can just check the calendar and be like, okay, he wants to come on this time of a show or this time of a day. Or you can just reach out to either him or myself there. I'll shoot you my actual name so you can get in touch on Facebook. That way you're not just looking for Dog. But
Yeah, for sure.
You're more than welcome to come on. It's been a healthy chat, good discussion the whole time through. Everybody's been respectful and polite. I don't know about the previous beef there, but I have no reason to ever think there was any or that there will be any in the future here, man. So no, you're more than welcome to come on. Thank you for making the time to come on with us as well there.
Hell yeah, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, later. Thanks for coming.
All right, ciao for now, folks. Thank you for listening.
Y'all
Catch
have
you
a
next
fucking fantastic night.
Nice dicks, homies.